So we begin with the Hulk going absolutely ham on these robots. And when I say he was going crazy, he was going crazy. He was hitting them with so many lefts and rights that the Avengers came to the conclusion that he needed to be stopped. And with the game on the line, can you guess who they sent in to calm him down? Captain America. This is the same guy who was making out with his girl for a whole movie straight.
You fucking...
Cap started walking towards Hulk, telling him to chill out. But the second he heard his voice, he smacked the shit out of that nigga, sending him flying into this truck, knocking his ass out, which left the Avengers shook. But Hulk was not playing, because before they could even take their eyes off of him, we looked up just to see him coming from the sky, landing on Iron Man before treating him like the school thought, putting him in the missionary position before swatting Nick and Natasha away and then also throwing him away like a used toy. He sent him tumbling off the side of the building, which is when Ant-Man came along and hit him with the
"Wouldn't let that shit happen to me though."
You also had the Hulk peeping over the edge, and just look at the expression on his face. He was really just admiring his work. And while the Hulk was staring off into the distance watching Iron Man roll away, you had Ant-Man come in and try to sneak attack him, while mind you, he was distracted looking in a whole nother direction. But with this being Ant-Man, he still somehow missed. Hulk then proceeded to hop step onto his knee and punch it, sending him falling to the ground whilst howling like a little bitch. And this is really when the Hulk said,
"No, that's not enough."
Picking up a whole rock, pulling a David vs Goliath, and throwing the rock at him, knocking him out. And with the Hulk being a menace to society, he got mad at him for getting knocked out so quickly. So he decided the best course of action was to walk in and beat on his dead body, when the Wasp came to save the day by throwing a whole lot of fairy dust in his face, blinding him. But throwing fairy dust at the Hulk is like trying to harm me in any physical way possible. It just simply doesn't work. So he ate that shit and simply thunderclapped her away as well. So it's a few moments later now, and we see the Hulk wiping his face because the dust that the Wasp had thrown at him made him cry. And when he finally wiped his tears away and looked up, he looked up to see Thor pulling up out of the smoke, stunting on him and us. Yes, us. He came up out of the smoke and instantly began moving like Michael Jackson, because tell me who told him now was the right time to be doing a runaway strap. But instead of critiquing him about this, I'm just gonna let him cook. He hit the Hulk, sending him flying away in slow motion and through like 10 floors.
A few moments later.
So now the Hulks jumped out of the hole. He was up there in the air moving like Tai Long before landing and running in like he was about to hit Thor with a devious right hook. But instead he ran in just to get parried, hit with an uppercut when Thor started hitting him with a barrage of attacks. This is when the camera cut to Cap waking up to the Avengers laid out on the ground. And I know when he opened his eyes, he thought it was a fever dream. There's no way he gets knocked out first, and when he comes to, he just sees Ant-Man lying on the ground like he just finished taking on Tiana Trump. Cap ends up telling this doctor to go and grab the Hulk's medicine so they could tranquilize him, and turn him back to normal when we went back to Thor knocking the Hulk to the ground. But that must have been all he needed to get his head back in the game, because he shook it off and stood up and went to rip the top half of this tank off, and then used it to swat Thor away like he was a piece of trash. And I'm telling you, the Hulk was just trying shit at this point, because right after knocking him away, he instantly walked towards Stormbreaker and started trying to pick it up. And at first, I didn't think he'd have it. But after I taught him the right technique, teaching him to squat down and use his back, he got it, picking it up as a very shocked Thor watched from afar, just dumbfounded. Hulk then threw it at him, knocking him to the ground before jumping in and grabbing Thor in one hand and his axe in the other. And just as he was getting ready to slice his head off, Captain America came out of nowhere with a clutch play, hitting the Hulk to the floor before saying this.
"Leave them alone, Hulk. Fight me."
And when the Hulk heard this, he wasted no time running in with the goofiest animation equipped.
"I'm gonna get you. Stop running from this dick boo."
But he ran in just to get flipped onto his ass. He got up and went to run back in when Cap held his shield at him, knocking him off balance as he ran back in, going to catch the self-alley-oop he'd just given himself, catching the shield and bunking him in the head with it. But he was not fazed, punching him away to the distance. And I'm telling you, this whole fight, Hulk was moving like a straight demon out there, and the only other person I could compare him to was Hassan.
Don't play with me, bro, cause I'm not gonna play. And I don't got nothing to lose. I don't got no family, nigga. I don't got no kids, nigga. I don't got nothing, nigga.
I hate you, nigga. Let's die.
But the reason I'm saying this is because after he sent Cap flying away, He proceeded to jump in so he could go and beat on his dead body. But luckily for him and the 3 Captain America fans out there, Ant-Man came in clutch, catching him in the palm of his hand. But what he went on to say after this was just so corny, man.
You're still a little man, Banner. Knock it off or I'm gonna squish you.
So he proceeded to jump out of Ant-Man's palm and land on his neck, before squeezing the absolute life out of that nigga. And just look at the Hulk, he was clinging onto that neck for dear life. He was using the bear hug method and everything. He ended up squeezing Ant-Man unconscious, sending him falling to the ground, before backflipping onto his stomach and jumping up, treating his stomach like a trampoline, and getting ready to squeeze the intestines up out of him, when the Wasp came in clutch, blasting him with fairy dust which cancelled his attack.
A few moments later.
This is when Cap woke up again to see the Hulk try to swat the Wasp away. So he ran in and threw his shield at him, making him fall to the ground again. And this is when he switched his attention to Cap. But while all this was going on, you had Iron Man finally wake up from his long ass nap and decide to put in some work, flying in and lasering the Hulk before speed tackling him into the building. But I should have known, from the second that he spent half the fight hiding away, that this nigga was gonna be trash. Getting flung away to this army tank, just to not even 3 seconds later have the Hulk jump in and hit him with the crazy right and left hook. And at this point, this shit was becoming sad to watch. You had the Avengers lineup getting wiped out by one individual, and you still had people talking about some Marvel vs DCU, who would win? And on top of this, Cap had to sacrifice himself every single time. He started signaling the Hulk, trying to get his attention, but he wasn't listening, so he jumped in and kicked him off Iron Man, and then ran in just to get kicked away into these shipping containers. And this is when Nick Fury and Natasha came in shooting, but they should have just honestly stayed their asses on the sidelines, because why and how do you expect bullets to affect this nigga? We've seen the footage. This nigga is everything proof, well apart from cooch proof. Just like most of you niggas, his weakness is a bad bitch. And I honestly can't say I blame him. If I had Natasha talking in my ear calling me a good boy, I'd be folded too. The camera then cut to the woman who Cap had told to go grab the tranquilizers. And can somebody tell me why the fuck she's trembling? You are in the safe comfort of this facility, whilst you have Captain America walking this nigga down. Hitting him with the right hook had Ant-Man looking in straight disbelief. He ain't never seen no shit like this. Before hitting this clean maneuver and hitting him again, but he got punched away to the sidelines as the lady coincidentally came back in with the medicine. And this is when Cap told him to create a diversion. He had Iron Man blast the Hulk up into the air, throwing an alley-oop to Ant-Man, who pounded him into the ground. But his punches must feel like straight plushies and cushions, because it did no damage. It wasn't even a second later when we seen the Hulk jump out of the hole and chin check Ant-Man while Cap was over there struggling to pinpoint him down. Because after all the CTE he'd sustained from taking the Hulk's punches, his tank was on E. He then told the Wasp to go in and distract him, and she did just that, flying into his ear while he was over there just doing bullshit. Hulk started grabbing his head trying to get her out, when he eventually slapped her out of his head. And this is when the Hulk finally realized what they were trying to do, picking up another rock and hurling it at Cap, knocking the syringe out of his hand as he jumped towards him and proceeded to bring him in and hit him with the "Hey, yo!" This is the second time he's done this bullshit, man. But Natasha picked up the syringe and ran in and stabbed it in his back. But that really wasn't enough to stop him, because he swatted her away and began running it straight at the doctor, which is when we finally see him succumb to the power of cooch yet again. He felt the touch of a woman, and just like Optimus Prime, he instantly fell to the ground and went back to normal form, man.